All right, y'all. So let's go ahead and talk about Klay Thompson. I got a video request for this in the comments yesterday, and I saw it during the Celtics game, and I was gonna record. I was gonna respond to the comment after the Celtics game, and then I went to I went to respond to it, and it was gone. Brain just doesn't work. It's 10 o'clock in the morning. I've been up since 8. Why? I don't know, but God woke me up, so we're not gonna complain. Did I go to bed at 2 or 3? I did. But anyways, so I was gonna respond to the comment, but it was gone. But whoever left that comment, appreciate you, bro. Like I said, always leave suggestions in the comments if y'all have videos that y'all want to see me make, because like there are things like this video right here. I thought about making it, but then I was like, I don't think it's gonna, like, I don't really think anyone cares about Klay Thompson right now, especially with the way that the finals were going on when the news broke. And if you haven't heard, I believe he like unfollowed the Warriors on Instagram and like took down the 2022 championship post. And I have two questions about this. The first one, why'd you take down the 2022 championship post? Like, even if you're a free agent, it's not like they just stabbed you in the back or something. They just chose not to give you the money that you're asking for because you're asking for a ridiculous amount of money for this point of your career. It's not like they betrayed you or something. It's not like they traded you in the middle of the night for a bag of Skittles. Like, what are you mad at? Like, and it's not like you didn't win. You won 4 rings. Like, what are you mad at them for? You better keep that post up. If it wasn't for Steph, you'd have none. You definitely wouldn't have that one. You didn't do a damn thing. But anyways, um, why am I hating? Like, why? See, this is what happens when I make videos early in the morning, bro. Y'all got me hating. But so let's talk about Klay Thompson, some potential landing spots. Let's just assume that Golden State era is done. I think it should be. If I'm the Warriors, I don't want to get rid of Klay, and I definitely don't want to get rid of Draymond. I would get rid of Klay before Draymond, but it's just like we're at the point of his career now where it's like, okay, we're not about to keep running it back with the same team. Steph is literally the only star in the West that has no help on his team right now. Like, he was the only guy in the top 10 that didn't have another star, another all-star type, another all-star caliber player on his team in the top 10 seeds in the West. And the Warriors are probably thinking, oh, Steph's 35. Maybe we should get him some help. And I agree, maybe you should, because Kuminga, he's good, not good enough. Wiggins has just had the worst 2 years of his career, basically. Like, definitely not to that 2022 All Star caliber like he was. Looney's not getting Looney not even starting no more. Trace Jackson Davis is good. Brandon Pajemski's good. We expect him to be better next year. I personally think Moses Moody should be getting more minutes than he was getting last year, or should have been getting more minutes than he was getting last year. Chris Paul, isn't he a free agent this year? I hope so, because y'all don't need to bring him back. Like, what? I didn't like the trade in the first place. Like, to me, I was like, I understood getting off of the Jordan Poole contract when you could. You send him to a team like the Wizards, whatever. Okay, I understand it. His value was just going to keep decreasing. I understand that. But for a 40-year-old Chris Paul, when you already have Steph, especially, they have beef, don't they? Well, not beef, but like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there was a little rivalry in the Western Conference for a long time, and now it's like, you put them on the same team. Like, I didn't even like it when it happened, so for damn sure I'm not going to like it for another season. So the Warriors have a lot of questions to answer this year, and I think getting rid of Klay is a good, or not re-signing Klay is a good place to start. Now let's talk about some potential landing spots. There's not a lot I have to talk about in this video, but at the same time, it could end up being a yap session. I'm not sure yet. But so when I saw this news break, the first two teams that came to my mind, OKC, Philly. And now that I'm thinking about it more and more and more, I like Orlando in there too. And another team that I could see, just because they have so much cap space, and it's like, they're so bad, you might as well go get some vets to try to get your young guys better, especially when you don't have a lot of perimeter shooting. The Detroit Pistons, and it's like, we expect them to get Tobias Harris, right? But they're not about to use that $60 million in cap space on Tobias Harris. I briefly thought about the Bulls, but they have plenty of guards. That's not really a problem they have. They need to get rid of some of their guards right now. Like, they need to get rid of some of their old guys who are already on fat contracts. They don't need Klay Thompson. Another team I thought of, though, was the Kings. I don't know. We got Malik Monk coming off. Well, not we. I'm a Raptors fan. Raptors don't need him, but if you want to get him, I don't care. We're not gonna be good next year, no matter what. So I don't care. But I prefer. I'm cool. Because the money he's gonna want, I don't want to pay him. So, anyways, the Kings. Let's start there because I think this is the least likely of the teams that I put. Maybe the Pistons is less likely, but I don't know. I think this is the least likely of the teams that I put. Because the Pistons, I think the only way they're going to get Klay, they would have to throw him a ridiculous bag. It's not like Tobias Harris where he's played there before, and Tobias Harris just dropped his stock by worse than any starter in the playoffs this whole year, or this whole season. So Tobias Harris' stock right now is probably lower than it's ever been. I never understood why they picked him over Jimmy Butler. Now they for damn sure look like some fools. But anyways, and Philly's got some questions this offseason too, but let's start with the Kings. They've got a lot of questions. The team is good, but I think we've seen the ceiling. We've seen what that team's gonna be like. They're gonna be a mediocre team. They're gonna be one of those teams where it's like 2 years ago when they were the 3 seed, that was because the West wasn't as good. Let's be real. Last year, the West had 3 or 4 50-win teams. Four. They had 4 50-win teams in the West. Maybe did the Clippers get to 50? It might have been 5, but they had 4 50-win teams in the West at minimum. I think the Kings ended up winning like 2 or 3 less games than they won last year, and they went from the 3 seed to the 9 seed. Like, that's just how good the West is. The West is so good right now that the Kings could go ahead and get Klay Thompson, and I look at him and I'd say, yeah, you're no better. Like, that doesn't do anything for the Kings. It adds some perimeter shooting for them, which is always a good thing, but it doesn't do anything major for them. Like, they need to make some moves. Like, they need to make some bigger decisions. They have bigger decisions to make than Klay Thompson. I don't think he's going there. Orlando Magic, their biggest need right now is perimeter shooting. The guy I think they should be prioritizing is Zach LaVine. I think Zach LaVine adds a lot more to them than Klay Thompson does because he adds that athleticism along with the perimeter shooting. Now, sure, Klay's maybe a bit marginally a better defender in his career or in this point of his career, but Klay's not sitting in the chair like he was during his prime. You know what I'm saying? And we don't expect him to at this point, but I'm just saying, like, it's not like you're getting one of the best two-way players in ball like Klay used to be. So let's not pretend like it's not like it's a big drop-off defensively because we know Zach LaVine don't play no defense. But he adds a lot of offense to this team that was already very, very good defensively. He's a vet, so is Klay. I get that, but it's like if the money's going to be similar, if Klay's going to ask for a similar type of bag to what Zach LaVine is getting, if it's like a few $1 million different, $5 million different, whatever, because I don't know what Klay's asking for, but I'm assuming it's a substantial amount. I prefer getting Zach LaVine over Klay if I'm the Magic, but I do, if they can't get Zach LaVine, if they can't get Paul George, because I think Paul George is going to go to the 76ers or stay with the Clippers. I don't think he's going to stay with the Clippers, though. I think he's going to go to the 76ers. I think he should go to the 76ers. I think the 76ers should be prioritizing him. But they're going to need a lot. Like I said, they don't have too many players on the contract next year. They have a lot of cap space, but they also have a lot of questions. I think this is the last year of the process for Philly. So that's Orlando. I think they're probably the second most likely team to get Klay Thompson. Like I said with Detroit, they have $60 million of cap space. They need shooting. They need vets. They need these young guys to develop three-point shots. You've got Monty Williams, who was the highest paid coach in basketball at one point. I'm not sure what he is now. He's probably still top 5. But when he signed his deal, he was the highest paid coach in basketball, which I thought was absurd. But they have a lot of questions, bro, but they also have a lot of guards. I don't know. They have a lot of bigs, too. I think with Detroit, when you have the 5th pick in this draft and you keep being the worst team in the league or one of the worst teams in the league and you keep getting around the 5th pick, it's not enough. So I think they just draft whoever the best guy available is, and then they try to sign some guys like Tobias Harris, like Klay, who are just vets that can maybe teach some shooting, that can maybe teach something. Like Klay can at least teach the championship mentality, the championship caliber play, like to show Cade Cunningham, show Jaden Ivey, show Asar Thompson, show Isaiah Stewart, Jalen Duren, show these guys what it means to win a championship, show these guys what the locker room takes to win a championship. Hell, show Monty Williams what the locker room takes to win a championship. I don't know if he was an assistant coach on a championship team. I don't remember, but I know he hasn't. He's been to the finals and everything, right? Like he went to the finals as a head coach. We know that, but it's just like Klay could add some things to the Pistons, but I don't think Klay would accept that. I think Klay wants to go to a team that has a chance of winning, and Orlando is a team that's out east, where the East is far weaker than the West, and of course Detroit's out east too. But Orlando was just like the 4 seed. Detroit is nowhere near the 4 seed. Last year, they lost the most games in a row in basketball. Like, they lost the most consecutive games in basketball. They had the worst record in basketball just to get the 5th pick, which is insane. But, like, it's 2 completely different scenarios. If I'm Klay Thompson, I have 4 rings. I'm a guy that's been used to winning my whole career. I want to keep winning. I want to go to Orlando over Detroit. The other team that came to my mind, and I think this is the most likely team to go after Klay, just because they have so many guys that they need. They also have a lot of cap space. I think if they get Paul George in there and then they get Klay maybe off the bench, or they run them both at the same time, you never know, because Buddy Hield didn't look great there. So it's like maybe you run Buddy Hield off the bench, you start Klay. I don't know. Because you got to keep in mind, they're losing a starter in Tobias Harris. They're losing a lot of their depth. They're losing Kelly Oubre. We know that. Like, they're going to lose some pieces. Embiid's coming off injury. Tyrese Maxey, we expect Tyrese Maxey to be what he was last year. I'm not expecting him to take a leap into superstardom. I expect him to be what he was last year, another all-star year. I think Philly needs to go after Klay. I think Philly needs to go after Paul George, and then after that, they need to just see what's left. I don't know, because backup center, I like B-Ball Paul, but, like, I don't know, like, are we really, and then, like, backup 4, you don't really have backup wings right now that I'm thinking of off the top of my head, like, or backup guards, really, I don't think off the top of my head, because I know you have Kyle Lowry, but, like, I don't think he's a free agent this year, but, like, either way, let's be real. You want something better than that to be your backup point guard if you're going to be a championship team. If you're going to compete with the Boston Celtics, you're going to need better. If you're going to compete with that starting 5 that they have, you're going to need better. So I think they need to be prioritizing just a lot in free agency if you're Philly, but I don't know. I really don't know if I would rather see him with the Magic or see him with Philly. Like I said, I think Zach LaVine would be the better fit with the Magic. So I think if the Magic can get Zach LaVine, then they prioritize him over Klay. And I think Paul George needs to be the priority for Philly no matter what. Another thing I want to see is like, so let's talk about the Warriors side of this, right? We talked about some potential landing spots for Klay, but let's talk about the Warriors side of this. They have a lot they need. They need some scoring. Their defense is okay, but they need some scoring. They might want to. They might want a little bit better defense. They might even want another big, another like backup type of big, backup type of wing type of guy. Especially if you think Wiggins is gonna have another bad year, you might need some other things, especially with the contract Wiggins has. So, let's say they don't trade anyone. I want to see them go after if Orlando doesn't get Zach LaVine. I want to see the Warriors try to get him. And if the Warriors can't get Zach LaVine, I want them to get DeMar DeRozan. I want them to get one of those two guys on the Bulls. I don't know where Vucevic is going to go. I don't think he really... I don't know. Like, I mean, Steph with a center that can stretch the floor would be something to see. But it's like, I don't think he fits there really as well. I think, I don't think you want to see him back with Orlando when you already have Paolo, you already have Mo Wagner, you already have Wendell Carter Jr. Like, you already have these guys. I don't think you really need him. And also, like, let's see what Orlando drafts. Let's see who Orlando drafts. Because Orlando has guard play. They have Anthony Black. They have some guard play with Jet Howard, too. But we don't think Jet Howard's going to be anything, like, crazy. And we don't think... I'm not super high on Anthony Black. Never really have been. But I think he's solid. You know what I'm saying? Like, they have plenty of guard play. I think they really just need some shooting. And that's why I think they should go after a Zach LaVine, go after a Klay Thompson. I don't think they needed DeRozan. I think the Warriors need to go after either Zach LaVine or DeRozan. If the Magic are going to get Zach LaVine, fine. Warriors, you got to go after DeRozan. And I know he's not going to add the three-point shooting that Zach LaVine would, but Shu just needs something to try to help Steph out. Like, at least he has another clutch player to Steph, so it's not all on Steph, because you are losing your other most clutch player in Klay Thompson. Like, I know he went 0 for 10 in the elimination game. I understand. But, like, in certain clutch moments, you know Klay's going to show up. Like, you know that. In certain moments against certain teams, when Klay's having a good night, or even if he's not, he's going to hit shots when it counts. Sometimes he's going to airball game winners. It happens. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to say he's the clutchest player of all time. I'm just saying, if you're the Warriors, you're adding another clutch player besides Steph. That's another guy that was in the running for clutch player of the year. I just don't know what else you can really get. I thought they should have got a big man last year. I thought they maybe should have tried to trade for a guy like Drummond last year. Now I think Drummond has raised his stock a little bit based on the year he had last year, so I don't really know how realistic it is that you can get him without giving up a piece that you kind of like. We'll see with Kuminga if he has another, you know what I'm saying, blossoming type of season. We'll see what happens with Pajimski. We'll see what happens with Trace Jackson Davis. I think all those players are promising, but none of them are going to be that second star to Steph, I don't think. And I really don't think DeRozan is either, but it helps. You got to try to do something. You got to do something if you're the Warriors. So that's what I think. I think Klay, like I said, Philly, I think is the most likely. Orlando's right behind him, though. Like, I think it's 1A, 1B. I don't think it's 1 and 2. And then after that, I'd probably say OKC. Oh, I didn't talk about OKC. Let's talk about OKC. OKC, Josh Giddey became unplayable in the playoffs against the Mavericks. We knew it was going to happen. We saw it happen. They started starting Isaiah Joe over him. You get a bona fide top 5 shooter of all time in Klay. You already have Isaiah Joe, who's one of the best shooters in the game, off the bench. You get Klay in there instead of Josh Giddey. You can get rid of Josh Giddey because I think we all see that Josh Giddey is the odd man out. If they can go get a guy like Drummond, also, they have 17 first-round picks. Go try to get a guy like Drummond. Go sign Klay in free agency. I think that makes OKC a team that was already the 1 seed, a team that already had a top 3 MVP finisher in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He might have been second. I think he was second in MVP voting. I think that makes OKC the best team in the West. I'm not going to lie to you. If they go get a guy like Drummond, if they go get Klay, obviously we know what the Nuggets are. They have championship pedigree, so we always have to, you know what I'm saying? We always have to respect Denver, and we always have to respect the Dallas Mavericks, who literally were just in the finals, but the Dallas Mavericks have way more questions, especially salary cap-wise, and with their future than the OKC Thunder do. I think OKC, if they go get Klay, I think it's 1A, 1B, 1C. I think these are the 3 teams that should be prioritizing Klay. The thing with Klay is, though, OKC and them had a bit of a rivalry last year, and they have for like the last 2 years. Would Klay go to a rival team? I don't know. I want to say no, but with him taking down the 2022 championship post and with him unfollowing the Warriors, maybe. And the other question I had about this, how do we find these things out? Like, who is going to Klay's Instagram and stalking to see that he removed that post? Because how did you even notice that? And then how did you go to check, oh, he unfollowed the Warriors on Instagram? Who do you have just checking these things? Like, did someone in Klay's camp leak it to the media or something? Or does the media just have people going around checking professional athletes' Instagram pages? Because I really want to know. Like, I genuinely want to know. Because if y'all just got people stalking their pages, is that not insane? To be stalking a grown man's Instagram as another grown man, is that not crazy? This man is in his 30s and we're just stalking his Instagram to see who he's unfollowing and see what posts he's taking down? I'm assuming someone in Klay's camp leaked it because that just seems too improbable to me, too insane sounding to have someone that's just stalking someone's Instagram. But this is a question I've always wondered. And I know somebody else is wondering it too, and you just won't ask, but I wonder. Anyways, landing spots for Klay. Philly, Orlando, OKC. I think those are the three realest ones, and then you've got Detroit, and then you've got Sacramento, and then we've got, some other teams that, just have cap space and might be looking for a veteran presence in the locker room. All right. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. A 15-minute yap session. I thought this video was going to be like 6 minutes. I'd be yapping. So, love y'all. Appreciate y'all. Keep God first. Keep him first. And listen, obey to God. All right. I love y'all. Appreciate you for watching. Thank you.